Okay, we didn't look at this one. Another B-ball index graph. So this is another one on cuts. So this is for forwards, okay? Same rules apply. You go further up, it's the most efficient cuts, and then you go further right, it's cuts per 75 possessions. So not the best indicator, right? Because some players just don't take any cuts whatsoever, right? But it's just the idea per 75, what would it look like? Just so everyone's on the same playing field. Let's take a look here. I am curious about this because I would think Jeremy Sochan should be quite high as far as how many cuts, but he didn't finish at the rim very well this season. So, all right. So starting off, good God. Let's see. So you got a lot of players just kind of stuck here. You got Karl Anthony Towns, LeBron. They're all in this big cluster. So LeBron, KD, Karl Anthony Towns, Jason Tatum. And that makes sense for these players because these are like star players. And then a lot of these players too are either spot up or just shot creators. Yeah, so you expect that a lot of these forwards, that's just their role. You wouldn't think that they would cut a lot. And then when they do, they get opportunities because they just don't cut that often. All right. Okay. So this is where Sochan is, and that's where Draymond is. So Sochan is bottom of the pack. You can also see Julian Champagne's here too, which is interesting. So both of them are quite low, but as far as how often, he cuts just as often as Zion Williamson. So he definitely going to have to work on his finishing. I think around the rim, it went down quite a bit, right? He was much better shooting around the rim than the season prior than this season. So while he improved his three-point shooting, his finishing, it diminished quite a bit. So he's definitely going to have to work on that. He's capable. Like, I'm not worried about it. I mean, I saw him at Baylor, so he's definitely capable. It's just a matter of, doing it. But like I said, having a point guard is definitely going to help. And then I'm sure the beginning of the season and that big chunk where he ran point guard and changed his role quite a bit, it was pretty rough. And then getting the feel and vibe of playing with Wemby, them finding him on time. I thought Wemby did a really good job of finding Sochan, mind you. I thought he did a really good job. Team got to work on boxing out. Yeah. And I think Wemby doesn't really box out that often because he doesn't have to. Or he feels like he doesn't have to. But, yeah, I'll say this right now. You guys want some criticism. This got to improve. And there's no excuse, especially the type of player he is, what we were expecting him to be, for this not to be higher. But I guess it's just a matter of him working on his three-point shooting and then some other things going to the wayside. But he should be more he should be up here as far as efficiency. But this upcoming season, you'll have more players that can shoot, somewhat. I think it'll help. Having the addition of Harrison Barnes should definitely help open things up a little bit for him. Wemby, we know that he'll improve. I don't know how big of a jump it will be, but he will improve. He always improves. And let's see, he doesn't have to worry about the speed of the game anymore, so maybe he'll find Sochan even more often. And we got Keldon here. So Keldon's also pretty low, but his cuts are much lower than Sochan. It is promising, though, that Sochan cuts per 75 is on the same level of Zion. That's what you want right there. You want him to be able to do, because that should be his role, or one of his roles. But yeah, you can see Keldon's right here. So middle of the pack. Higher than much higher stability than Champagnie. Sochan in a couple years will be a beast on both ends of the floor. Oh, I agree. I don't think that he'll be like Kawhi. I hope so. I don't think so. I don't expect him to be like a superstar. But being a Draymond for the Spurs, being the Draymond version or the Spurs version of Draymond, that's completely good enough for me. Just don't be dirty. Don't play dirty. But that's completely good enough for me. That's championship caliber. That's a valuable player that you should keep for the entire duration of the Wemby era, right? So, gosh, I hate that so many people are so quick to get rid of Jeremy Sochan. Let me tell you this right now. One indicator, and it's a small indicator, but one indicator for me to not trade Sochan is the fact that a lot of teams want him. Every single time you talk about any trade package for anybody, they at least inquire about Sochan. They at least say, hey, is Sochan? What's going on with Sochan? Is he free? You know, so I wouldn't even stress. They're like, can he run? Can he run some? Can he run some in Pro-Am? Like, that's an indicator, man. He's only 20 years old, and he gets inquired about a lot. Him and Fasel. So, good stuff there.